Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Screen Filler. Number 1, 42 Days Without Food. Helen Claiborne, 21, wanted to travel from Fairbanks to Seattle and decided to save some money by flying with an amateur pilot. 42-year-old Ralph Flores. It turned out to be a fateful choice when Flores' plane crashed on February 4th, 1963 in a snowstorm in a remote part of the Canadian wilderness. The passenger and the pilot suffered broken bones and other injuries, but they were alive. Unfortunately, they had no survival equipment except for matches, and their food supply consisted of 4 cans of sardines, 2 cans of tuna, 2 cans of fruit cocktail, and a bottle of vitamin pills. Number 2, escaped the Soviet Gulag, walked 4,000 miles. Slavomir Rawicz, a young Polish cavalry officer, was called up to defend his country against the Nazi and Soviet invasions that started World War II. He was captured by Soviet forces and sent to Moscow in 1939. There he was convicted on a trumped-up charge of espionage and sentenced to 25 years of hard labor. He survived a brutal trip to Siberia in which he had to ride in the back of an open cattle truck in sub-zero temperatures and then march hundreds of miles in chains. In April 1941, in the midst of a blizzard, he and 6 other prisoners escaped with the help of the warden's sympathetic wife. They trekked 4,000 miles to the south, crossing the Gobi Desert and the Himalayas and enduring harsh cold, blazing heat, thirst, and starvation. Number 3, forced to eat human flesh. On October 13, 1972, a Uruguayan Air Force plane en route from Montevideo to Santiago, Chile, crashed in a pass in the Andes Mountains. On board was the Old Christians Club, a rugby team, and family members who were headed to a match against a Chilean team. Of the 45 people on board, 25 survived, but 8 of them were killed 2 weeks later when an avalanche hit the crash site. Trapped in the snow at an altitude of more than 13,000 feet, the survivors eventually resorted to one of the most grisly acts of self-preservation imaginable, eating the flesh of dead friends and family members who were preserved in the cold. After more than 2 months without rescue, 2 of the athletes, 21-year-old Fernando Parado and 19-year-old Roberto Canessa, decided to hike off into the wilderness in a desperate search for help. Number 4, the unbroken survivor of a plane crash in a prisoner of war camp. Surviving one horrible ordeal is bad enough, but how about 2? On May 27, 1943, a U.S. Army Air Corps B-24 on a rescue mission in the Pacific malfunctioned and crashed into the sea. 3 members of the crew took refuge on a raft. Tail gunner Sergeant Francis McNamara died after 33 days, but the other 2, Second Lieutenant Russell Phillips and Lieutenant Louis Zamperini, a distance runner who had competed in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, survived on fish and rainwater for 47 days. Then they were found by Japanese forces. That's when things got worse, particularly for Zamperini. The Olympian endured savage torture at the hands of a sadistic camp sergeant named Mutsuhiro the Bird Watanabe. Among his many abuses, Watanabe ordered other prisoners to line up and take turns punching Zamperini in the face for 2 hours. Watanabe also once forced him to hold a heavy beam overhead for 37 minutes before knocking him to the ground. Nevertheless, he survived the war and was liberated in 1945. Number 5, 4 months adrift in the ocean. In November 1942, a British merchant ship, the Bin Lomond, left Cape Town, South Africa on a voyage across the Atlantic to pick up cargo at Paramaribo in Dutch Guiana, now the nation of Suriname. But when the ship was 750 miles of the South American coast, it was torpedoed by a German U-boat and sank. The only survivor was a 24-year-old Chinese seaman named Poon Lim, who jumped overboard. Struggling to surface, Lim managed to find one of the ship's rafts. Even more miraculously, he located a tank of water and some cans of food in the floating wreckage. He improvised a fishing tackle to catch more food. Lim drifted for 133 days, until he was rescued by Brazilian fishermen 10 miles off the coast.
That is more than 6,600 miles. Now he is talking.
Caught in a violent storm on a small fishing boat off the Mexican Pacific coast. They got lost, he says, just before Christmas 2012. To CNN in the Marshall Islands, 37-year-old Jose Salvador Alvarenga says he...
That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.